My guest today is, well, the first word that comes to mind is athlete. And I'll explain as we go. Kirk Gibson was part of one of the most iconic sports plays, not just in baseball, but one of the most iconic plays in 1988 in the World Series, in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs and runners on second, facing a certain Mr. Eckersley. And I'll let him tell the story as well as we go. That particular home run was iconic, and I watch it on a regular basis. It's just a phenomenal, powerful image in sports. And it's just a great honor, buddy, to have you, Gibby. Kirk Gibson, everyone, say hi to all our guys out there, all our great fans. And, let me start here, Gibby. A lot of people don't know you and I were roommates back in 1978. I think it's an appropriate place to start because a lot of guys, a lot of people don't know you were a hell of a football player at Michigan State. And you were a senior. I was a freshman. And, you ran a 4.24, at least this is what my research tells me, in the 40. But more impressively, you remember the play where you were running a go route. Eddie threw it. There was an interception. And you chased the guy down. You made a U-turn and ran past everybody and chased that guy down before he scored.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Athlete. Come on. You were always an athlete.
Just a runner.
Yeah, you were just a runner, right? That could catch the ball and fly. But great times at Michigan State, Gibby. I was just a little snot-nosed, 19-year-old kid from Denmark, and it sure was fun to be part of that Big Ten championship team. What is your recollection back to, let's go back to 1978 and that iconic year we had. We're on probation, but just that team and Darryl Rogers and just playing in Spartan Stadium back in the late 70s.
Yeah.
Pretty fun time, right?
Yeah, well, first of all, the Great Dane, is that the name of the podcast?
Great Dane Nation, yes.
Great Dane Nation, and I trust that I'm speaking to a few people in the Great Dane Nation across the waterway. So hello, everybody, and welcome. You weren't my first exposure to a Great Dane. That was distinction went to your predecessor, your guy who
came before me.
You, Hans Nielsen, and we learned a lot in the 3 years that we were with him, and then he used his eligibility, and then in come the next little Great Dane. Yeah. And you had a lot of pressure on you because Hans was a great guy who was well liked on the team.
Yeah.
And you had some big shoes to fill, and boy, did you ever. The great thing about what you walked into was a group of young men from many cultures across the United States and from around the world that went through probation. We all showed up at Michigan State as freshmen. We were 7-4. It was the year after they beat Ohio State on a late touchdown by Levi Jackson. And we came there with great dreams of what we were going to be, only to put on probation after our freshman year. A lot of guys, said they were going to leave, and some of the guys did leave because they were going to put on probation. But our freshman class that came in, there was a lot of guys that, we liked each other. It's more about sticking together and putting this thing back together after being shot down by the NCAA, which we could debate whether we got a fair sentence or not. 3 years of probation, that was basically all I had left in eligibility. We decided to stay, so we built through it. And then Denny Stoltz, our initial coach my freshman year, he got fired. He resigned. They brought in Darryl Rogers, who was a guy from, I believe, San Jose State. Denny Stoltz was more of a run and attack guy. Darryl Rogers liked to throw the ball, which I was a wide receiver. I liked that. And, Darryl had a little more personality. You remember how he used to talk a little bit? And he had a way about his words. And
hey, man, We're just going to throw the rock. Eddie, just throw the ball. Throw the shit out of
it. Yeah. It didn't work this time. We'll do it again.
We'll do it again.
He really liked to fling it. And he told me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he looked at me the first time he saw me. He goes, what are you doing as a receiver? You look like a linebacker to me. You look like an outside linebacker. And I ran a few times for him. He goes, oh, we better keep you a receiver. He had that high.
This looks pretty good.
Yeah. So, we came back and we were building, my sophomore year, we started to throw the ball. I think we were 4-5-1 or something like that. We didn't have a very good record, but we knew we were going to be good. Our junior year, we trended up. Our senior year, we knew that this was our last year. We liked each other, though. We worked hard. We pushed each other. We had fun with each other. We did things that you can't say nowadays. Nobody took it as offensive. No. And as a matter of fact, we tested each other to make sure that we knew that we liked and loved, and we weren't racist against each other. We didn't pick on each other. We pushed each other, like I said, to make each other better. I ran harder to make the guy next to me run harder.
Yes,
you kicked better to make the guy behind you kick better.
I just kicked extra points. I mean, we had 56 extra. Yeah. I led the Big Ten in scoring, but it was all extra points.
Yeah,
in the red zone, we scored touchdowns.
40. I think we averaged like 40-some points a game, but it all came together.
Yeah.
And that year we were 1-3. Eddie broke his finger. Eddie Smith, our quarterback, broke his finger in the game at Purdue. So he was out 2 or 3 games. Then we went out to USC. I don't know if you remember that game in the Coliseum.
Oh, yeah.
And they beat up on us pretty bad. That was Eddie's first game back. But after that, it was over.
We crushed.
It was over. We had weapons. We could stop them.
Yep.
We made impact plays. We could pass the ball. We could run the ball. We could kick the ball. We had a good punter. We had everything it took. Unfortunately, we got stripped of our right to go to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting drafted my junior year in baseball. But I told all those scouts, I'm not going to play. Don't draft me in baseball because I'm coming back with my boys in my senior year. And
that's awesome.
Only the Detroit Tigers said, I'll tell you what, we'll let you play football. And then but when you come, you can't go to the NFL from there. We'll let you go. We'll draft you as a junior, play 50 games in the minor leagues in the summer. Then you can go back and play football. And boy, did we. And now just think of this. Here's a kid that always wanted to be in the NFL. I was big. I was fast. I loved to crush people. I loved the contact. I love my teammates. I love to be a leader. And all of a sudden, I have a coach who comes up and says, I think you should go out and play baseball. In my junior year, instead of play spring football. And I said, why would I want to do that? And he said, because you want to be a top 5 pick in the NFL. You do anything in baseball, you're going to be a top 5 pick. So I went out. Then I got drafted. Then I had to make the decision, football, baseball. And ultimately, I chose baseball because it was a longer career. The basic players agreement and the collective bargaining agreements were better in baseball at the time. And I got a chance to play where I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, basically. And now, having said that, so I signed in July of my junior year, got a pretty good bonus, went out and bought a van, customized it, a stereo, and a waterbed. And boy, we had a good time that year. That was a good time.
Did you have the shag carpeting?
Oh, yeah. We had the shag carpeting in there. And,
did you give it a name? You know how guys, when they get attached to their cars, they give it a name?
Yeah, no, nothing that I could share right now. But, we were in college. It's kind of like who's got any money, No I had the money, and I shared it with all the boys. We had a good time. And we went on to finish 8-3 that year.
Yep.
And we would have went to the Rose Bowl. I went over and played in the Hula Bowl.
Yeah.
I went and played in the Senior Bowl, and that was done, and then it was on to baseball. So that's a quick synopsis of my journey through Michigan State.
Well, I have so many memories as well, and I'll share well, two. Let me go back to Dale Rogers real quick. We had a tradition of the night before the game, we all stayed at home games now. We would stay at the Kellogg Center. They'd have they had those rolls, the pecan rolls, and they had a cheese soup, some kind of, I remember it was iconic.
Beer cheese soup, yeah.
Yeah. We'd go watch a movie. One of these games, some brilliant mind, I don't know, had Texas, you know I'm going with this, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and we start watching this movie, and we get about 10 minutes into this, and as soon as that first chainsaw revved up, man, and started cutting flesh, Dale flipped the light on and goes, "Men, this is not going to help us win tomorrow."
We loved
Remember that?
Yeah, we were going nuts. We loved it. Everybody's running around going, ring, ring. I got a chainsaw in my garage right now.
That didn't last, man.
Yeah.
So that was the number one. Number two, I'll never forget going to the Big House and beating Michigan 24-15, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a big game. I actually had a 57-yard field goal down there. I remember a big bomb, and we won. I remember the feeling after the game, sitting in that shitty locker room in Ann Arbor in the Big House, and just understanding what what the trophy meant in that locker room.
Yeah.
But to your point, the bond, like that bond, man, of having accomplished something. And we're, by the way, Gibby, we're airing this before the Michigan game, so let's talk about that, right? Because it is an iconic rivalry. Everybody wants to talk about Ohio State and Michigan, and that's fine. I get it. Indiana, Purdue, and Florida State and all that. But I'm telling you, Michigan State's a hell of a rivalry. So I'll be up there, brother, on Saturday watching what's going to happen.
Well, they're both 7-0. It's a great lead up to the game. That's why we compete. I've really liked Mel Tucker and what he's done at Michigan State.
What do you like about him?
Well, I've gotten to know Mel very well. I've gotten to know him from being one of the boys with you and I on the golf course, to watching him with his practices, to watching him on the sideline. But I kind of look for who competes. You always talk about tools. Can he do this? Can he do that? Can he run? Does he like to hit? Is he smart? I like to see what he does when things get sticky. When the pressure comes on, if you study people in competition, when it starts, when it progresses, and then when it gets going, the game gets going really fast, those are the guys that I like. And I think Mel Tucker's pretty good. He's brought, 41 transfers into Michigan State. That's amazing. Yeah. And he holds these kids accountable.
Yeah.
In baseball, when you're coaching or you're playing, you don't get a lot of, if you think of a football practice, okay, you're in there at 7-on-7, let's say, or you're playing scout team against first D. They do a play, and there's 15 to 20 coaches on the field.
Yeah.
Set hut, the play goes, and then all of a sudden the whistle goes, and you got 15 to 20 coaches in everybody's ass. Yeah. They are pushing for perfection. And you're the kicker, we're practicing onside kicks, or if you're not quick enough, or the holder didn't put the laces. There's all these little finite points of any sport that I've ever played, anything that I've ever done in life. Yeah, you can not give a shit. You can just cruise through and say, well, we'll do it right in the game. It doesn't work that way. I got news for you, pal. But I like the way that Mel does that. And those kids, he rides them, but he's also established why he rides them before he does it, because he wants their expectations to be higher. You
Yeah.
can't have low expectations. You got to want to be, you just can't want to make it to the big leagues. You just can't want to make it to NFL. You just can't want to play a play for Michigan State University. You got to want to do it when it counts. That's the cool thing that I think that he really tries to instill in these kids. You know, so many things can go wrong. You can miss 3 kicks, right? Yes,
I have.
yeah, and yeah. You go over there and you're pouting, and now all of a sudden you got a chance to win the game. So
Yeah.
you're like, you have to have a reset. It's like your computer. If it gets corrupted, you better have what they call endpoint protection. Because what they do is they take your computer back to when it wasn't corrupted, start it back up, and then they reestablish. And you have to do that as a person in life. You have to do that as a football player, as a baseball player, as a parent, as a husband, as a friend. You know, you're gonna bomb stuff. But you were talking about that with that feeling that you had when we beat Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about how it felt. I mean, beyond visually going back and looking at it, the important thing is how do you feel after any given moment? If you're feeling crappy, replace it with something when you felt good. So I would suggest that if I struck out with the bases loaded and I'm walking back to the dugout, I might say, "Oh, you stink, Kirk," to myself. It's called self-talk. But as soon as I hear myself say that, I go, "Oh, that's not like me." I usually do better in those situations. Give me another chance. I'm visually ready. And then I think about that time when we were in Michigan. We were standing on the field with 25 seconds left, and Eddie Smith, our quarterback, he wasn't very big, remember?
No.
We
Yeah.
called him the Worm.
The Worm.
Boy, he could throw the rock. And the other thing is he could control the huddle.
Yeah.
I remember them big linemen, they'd be bitching at each other inside, and he'd go, "You guys shut the F up. This is my damn huddle. I'll tell you when you talk. Now listen up." IE's pro, 3-base pass, LA special. That was to me. That was the one I'd go down over the middle. And he just a great leader.
Yeah.
Great leader. And everybody respected him, and everybody respected each other. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I use the great moments of my life. I try and be productive. I try and be positive when I'm coaching or mentoring people around, because the negativity will tear you up. And if you want a predetermined failure, go ahead, because you're going to fail. And you can also dream the other way in predetermined success and have a picture and a feel inside your body how it feels before you accomplish it. And that's fun stuff. Now you may do it 1,000 times, it may fail.
Yeah.
I'm still staying on the positive figure. I'm still pushing the positive feeling inside me, because it's a lot more fun that way than just kicking your own ass.
One of the things I remember about you, Kirk, was when we lost, how pissed off you got, how devastated it was to you. And I always thought to myself, man, this game means something to Kirk Gibson, you know, to my teammate Gibby, because he's not just sitting there like it didn't matter. It mattered to you. And to your earlier point about being invested, right, with your emotions, not only when you're winning, but also when you're losing, and learning from that and saying, man, this is such a shitty feeling. Let's not try to, at least let's not kill ourselves. Let's make sure we're taking care of our individual thing. And I always felt like you were full speed, you know, in life. You know, you may have disagreed academically. I remember you sharing a couple of things about, well, I probably could have done a little bit better in the classroom, right?
No doubt. But I mean, I majored in eligibility. I'm not proud to say that, but I did what I had to do.
Yeah.
To get ready. And, you know, as far as the losses, it did hurt me. I just, again, I don't like the fact that we got outplayed or we either made a mistake.
Yeah.
You know, people, when I was with the Dodgers the first year, I had been in Detroit with the Sparky Andersen. He was a very structured manager, and he would lay it out on the board. This is what we're going to do. He didn't want any screwing around. Like we'd be practicing bunt plays, somebody throwing in the right field corner. It was not funny to him. Okay. Well, when I went to LA, it was just the exact opposite. We were in the clubhouse. We'd have our pre-practice meetings. Guys were screwing around. They had clowns jumping out of the trunks. They'd go through what we were going to do. We get on the field. Pedro Guerrero picks one up, throws it down the right field line. Everybody laughed. I'm thinking, damn, what's so damn funny about that? That's not funny. It wasn't funny. And then we had our first game, and Jesse Orozco, a pitcher, of course, who just screwed around like the kickers do during practice, he put eye black in my hat, and I was out there running, and I took my hat off, and I looked, I had black all over my eye black all over my arm, and I knew it would happen. So I was steaming off the field, and I saw Tommy Lasorda. Said, you go get the MFer that put the eye black in my hat. We're going to have a talk. Everybody's screwing around. I told him, this is like the 7th game of the World Series to me. We were playing our first spring game against the Chinese All-Star or the Japanese All-Star game. He said, oh, come on, man. They're just trying to have fun. I go, winning is fun. Don't tell me that. I'm not here to have fun. I want to win. That was fun to me. Now, you think about how much better the jokes are when you win.
No question.
And you know, I just could see we were going in the wrong direction. I could see that some of the things that I had watched in the LA Dodgers the 2 years before I came there, we were practicing those bad habits again. And I stood up and I just said, hey, look, you know, I don't think I came to the wrong place. The Dodgers have great tradition. They have great resources. We have great players. We have great managers and coaches. What are we doing? Let's don't let it slip away. You know, there's opportunity here. And I'm just saying, I'll come a little bit your way and loosen up. But when we're getting ready to play, let's pay attention. Let's execute it against nobody for sure. Yeah. Then we'll measure ourselves when we get in the game. We'll try and my concept is let's pressure these other guys. Let's just, you're winning, you're losing. It don't matter. Just keep them coming. You don't ever give in. You know, it's like you got that little chip shot. You got the one guy. It's always just about getting that ball. You're right as you kick it, Morten. You feel it just a little bit. It's like that's the way I believe. You don't let off. You just let them know. I'll be back the next kick. I'll be back the next bat. And I said, you have to dedicate yourself, and we have to do it as a team.
How was the response after you stood up and said, I don't think I'm at the wrong team here? What was the response of the teammates? What was the response of the manager? Because it wouldn't have happened in Detroit under Sparky, let's face it.
Yeah, well, actually, Tommy called. I left. I mean, he wouldn't go get the guy who did it, so I left that game. Went home and I got a call at 5:30 in the morning. Kirk, I mean, I only known this guy like 10 days, Tom Lasorda. Hey, Tom Lasorda. Yeah, how you doing, Tommy? Would you care to come over to my room? I'd like to talk to you before we go to practice. Yeah, sure, I'll be right over there. So I went over there. It was 5:45 in the morning. He gave me this big speech about how everybody was trying to make you feel welcome. They were just trying to have fun. They didn't mean to insult you. They didn't know you. You know, I wasn't going to bring the guy over because I thought that you seemed like you were really mad. And you know, we have media here. We try and control the media. I never forget, they in their club, in their little spring training facility, they had a bar for the media. Nobody has a bar for the media, but the Dodgers did. And they said you know, we kind of want to control and positive things coming out of here. So he said he talked to me for 20 minutes. I never said a word. He says, so what do you think? And I just sat there. He goes, well, come on, don't you have anything to say? I said, no. He says, well, let's just say that it was a family issue and that everything's good and you came back. I said, no, I won't do that. He goes, oh, come on. I said, no, we're going to have a team meeting. I'll speak today. And I just got to say it, Tommy. It's just who I am. And it's going to go off one way or the other. So when I got up there, I told him that where I was coming from. I told him that I was the best teammate they ever had. I promise. I told the pitchers, if you got to hit somebody and you're scared, you hit them, you run to left field. I'll be on my way in. I'll protect you. And, anything will protect
I
each
love it.
other. Oh yeah, I was like warfare. I mean,
Well, you were an intense dude. You still are.
yeah, and so then at the end, I said, anybody got a problem with anything I said? I said, I will sacrifice. I would take everybody on right now. I'll get 4 or 5 of you. You'll finally get me. But just to show you, I will sacrifice to show you guys that I'm here for you. We're here for each other. And, we went out and, the rest is kind of history. We ended up beating the Oakland A's in the World Series that year. We were heavy underdogs. We also beat the mighty Mets in the playoffs. And that was what I did, was a small part of the whole sum of all the pieces, because Oral Hershiser had a great year. Mike Scioscia, Mike Marshall, John Shaw. I mean, these guys, and everybody, it's funny because everybody doesn't need to have mucho numbers. You can throw all these things in a salad bowl and say, the lettuce is good, the tomatoes are good, the cheese, I like cheese in there. Mm-hmm. I like sesame seeds. I like, whatever you like. Okay. You look in there and you got all these good ingredients in there. You go, this is going to be really good. Then you stir it up and you eat it. You go, well, this is really shitty. Or you go, this is really good. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're trying to do. It's like, but you got to do that by understanding who is Morten Andersen? Where is he from? Sure. Right? Who is Eddie Smith?
Got to do a deep dive.
Who is Mel Land? Who was Tommy Graves when we were there? You got to understand, and you got to challenge each other. You got to have fun with each other. You got to hate on each other. You got to love on each other. Yeah. It's just what it's all about, because in that way you don't get offended, because you know that they're behind you and you know what you're all committed to. And you know what? It's just plain old fun when you're kicking the other team's ass. It's always been that way. And, that's not to say I remember one time Eugene Bird, who was our wide receiver, we were running a drill and he was loafing and he was running against me and he was just letting me beat him. And on the last drill, I ran back, forth. And then on my final turn, I just took a straight left turn and smoked him. I just ran him over. And we had a hell of a fight going on there for about a couple of minutes. We were scrambling around. I said, man, I can't tell you exactly what I said, but it's like,
you can say what
I gotta hustle. Get your fucking ass going. Let's go. We gotta win. Probably shouldn't have said that. You can hit the beat button, but that's just always the way I've been. And there's had to been people like Eddie and people that tell me, man, enough. You gotta. That's too far. So if
dial it back.
What's that?
Dial it back.
Yeah. Well, in baseball, that was Alan Trammell.
Okay.
Yeah, he told me one day that I went down there and I crushed Ozzie Guillen from Chicago, and I thought he did something earlier to one of our guys, and I was bragging all the way in, and Tram he said, I love you, man, but you're wrong. You owe the guy an apology. So that's the risks. You go too far one way, sometimes doesn't work out on the other end, but that's what friends are for, and you have to learn to be accountable for mistakes you make.
I have to ask you about the play and have your feeling on it, because everybody's talked about it, rehashed it, but the home run you hit there in 1988 against Eckersley, you had a hell of a year. I mean, you won the National League MVP that season with the Dodgers, and you were in the prime of your career, Kurt, but you get hurt, after making a really amazing defensive play in the NLCS, and it was unlikely, really, that you were going to play at all. And then you get the call to pinch hit from Tommy Lasorda with 2 outs, bottom of the ninth.
He got the call.
Yeah, he got the call.
Yeah, we called.
Tell me, you take it, man, take it.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, it was coming down to it. Jose Canseco hit a grand slam in the first inning against us in Game 1. We were down 4-0. We called back. Yeah, I was hurt, like you said. I mean, I could barely walk. I had 4 injections in my left knee and my right knee. Yeah, I was just hurting. And, in football, sometimes you're hurt, but you got to do it, once a week. It's on Sunday or it's on Saturday. They'd inject you. There's a way you could tape a broken finger together, Baseball is just not like that. It's like, you got a broken finger, it's hard to swing the bat. You know,
Sure.
my hamstrings both were screwed up. I got up that morning and I ran across my living room floor and I thought, oh man, I said, I don't know if I can deal with this. Because I always had the mentality that I could deal with anything, you know, it's just like just overcome it. But that didn't work that day. So I went and they gave me some injections in both sides of both legs. And I was just sitting there and I didn't think I'd going to be able to play. But, you know, as the game went on, it's 4-0, it's 4-1, it's 4-2, it's 4-3. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Now we're in the top of the 9th. And I can just see we're at the bottom of the order. And they got Mike Davis, Dave Anderson, who hit 3 home runs in his whole career, and me on the bench. And I was in the training room the whole game, kind of icing on and off, on and off. And Vin Scully, the great announcer, I kept panning the dugout. There's no Kirk Gibson tonight. No Kirk Gibson. He will not be playing tonight. And it's really bugged me. And so he did it going to the bottom of the 9th. And I was like, my ass. I told Mitch Poole, our clubhouse guy, I go get the tee and set it up. I put a pair of sandies on, a jock strap, and my uniform over top, but with the Michigan Big Game Hunters T-shirt underneath. Took a couple swings, and because I'd just taken the ice off my knees, I said, "Go get Tommy." And so I send this bat boy down there. He's going, Mr. Lasorda, Mr. Lasorda, and Tommy's going, God damn it, Mitch! Can't you see I'm managing a game? He's like, oh, but it's Gibby. He goes, I don't. Oh, it's Gibby, and he comes running up the runway, and I said, hit Davis 8th, I'll hit 9th. He goes, you sure? I go, well, if you want me to do it, if you believe in me. And he says, you stay up here. He wanted me to stay in there because he didn't want me to be in the dugout. For the A's would think that I would, that I had a chance to hit, because all reports were that I didn't, and I pretty much was not in the dugout the whole game. And, you know, sure enough, I'd been sitting in there thinking and dreaming about good things that had happened to me in my life. And we had a scouting report, which I still have. I have 2 copies. One was my copy, and the other one was the scout who realized it's copy, Mel Didier. He's just passed away. But it says right in there, 3-2 backdoor slider to left-handed hitters if he's in some shit. So he said it like this, Podna, as sure as I'm standing here breathing, you gonna see a 3-2 backdoor slider if he's got pressure on him. As sure as I'm standing here breathing, you're gonna see it. So I got up there to the plate, and I'd kind of programmed my mind when I got out in the on-deck circle, the crowd would go nuts, that I wouldn't hurt. And then I had the 3-2 backdoor slider, so he got me down 0-2. Then 1-2, 2-2, 3-2. He got to 3-2, and as soon as he came set, I called timeout. I stepped out and I said, partner, sure as you're standing here breathing, you're going to see that 3-2 backdoor slider. And I did. It was a backdoor slider and some ugly-ass swing and out of the park and win. It's still incredible to believe right now. You know, why I was chosen when I have no idea, but it was just the right, you know, Mort, I mean, you had kicks before where you were going bad in there, and somehow you just got the toe on it, and the son of a bitch curved in.
Yep.
You couldn't believe it.
Yep.
There's other times when you hit it perfect and it doesn't, you know, somebody catches it or something happens.
Yeah.
That was just one of those moments, you know, I like, why me? I don't know. But as soon as I hit that ball, I was an ugly one-handed swing.
It reached for it a little bit, right, Doug?
Well, it was a backdoor slider. Like, he'd thrown me fastballs. I only fouled them off. The pitcher, Dennis Eckersley, outsmarted himself. Great competitor, great guy. I mean, it's been great since it happened. You know, he went on to the Hall of Fame, bless his heart. And, you know, I got to have that moment. I also hit a home run off Goose Gossage in 1984. Yeah. Late in the game as well. So, you know.
Any questions? Did you talk to Eckersley after? First of all, what were you thinking running around the bases? And there was pandemonium. And then did you have a conversation at all with Eckersley now?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, because I told my parents a while before that, if there's things written in the paper when I left Detroit, good riddance, 2 pages, good riddance.
Wow.
All these comments, and I was a disgrace. But mind you, that was after the players got colluded against, and I was awarded free agency, automatic free agency, and the Dodgers signed me. So I caught a lot of crap for that, but I mean, I was merely, doing what anybody had the right to do. And Peter O'Malley, the owner of the Dodgers, came after me, and I came over there, and when I hit that home run, I told my parents, "You just don't have to say anything. We're gonna have our moment, and I'm gonna do it right. We'll have our day." And then as soon as I put my arm up, I remember it's our day, and I could just felt so good for my parents, for the people who supported me, for the fans, my teammates. I mean, I see it on TV all the time. I'm not trying to, but it just is on there a lot. And, at the time, to be quite honest with you, I didn't realize what I had done. I didn't realize what part in baseball history that was.
Yeah.
Many years later, 35 some years later, I do. And it's been incredible. And it's the reason why when you get frustrated, anybody that's listening, you believe in something. I believed in myself. I believed that my teammates wanted me to go up there and give it a try. And, kind of true to my form, I did it. And the damn thing went out. The damn thing went out. And it's incredible. It instills a great feeling inside of me to this day. And it's almost makes me shy and very humbled to have to talk about it these days.
Do you mind if we just spend a few moments talking about today's Dodgers, today's Tigers? And the Dodgers had a hell of a series against the Braves, obviously, and they didn't quite get it done, but they're very talented. They've been good for a while. What's your take on the Dodgers 2021?
Yeah, they really couldn't sustain certain things that were some in their control, some out of their control.
Yeah.
Trevor Bauer's situation was terrible. Kershaw, just on the pitching end alone. Max Scherzer in that last game. That's pretty tough to overcome. They do have a lot of depth. They almost made it through. The other thing is they won it last year. And both times that we won the World Series. The next year, I thought we were every bit as good or better. For some reason, we just didn't get the breaks, We were right there, but I thought we were a better team. We didn't. Success is tough. It really is. Do you let your arm down, your guard down just a little bit? Maybe. But the other guys are shooting for you. You're the world champs.
Exactly.
They're shooting for you. It's success. It can go way, way the wrong way. We played hard. We were good, but we couldn't pull it off. It's really a tough thing to do. It's really a tough thing to do. And you realize what you've accomplished when you don't accomplish it the following years.
What do you think about the Tigers hiring A.J. Hinch after his involvement with the Astros? And I mean, we heard a bunch about the cheating scandal. Is that dangerous to bring him?
Good hire. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hold on.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just water.
Yeah. This is just vodka.
Hey.
Anyway, I mean, AJ was in Arizona when I was there. He became the manager of Arizona. I was his bench coach.
Yeah.
They fired him. They hired me. And then I got fired, and we come full circle again. Yeah. The whole cheating thing. I mean, let's be honest. People have cheated. Depending on your definition, there's been a lot of cheating that's gone on from cards to football to baseball, in classes. People cheat. Okay, now you want to call it cheat or you want to call being resourceful. And there's different opinions and different definitions about cheating. I mean, is cheating unacceptable? or is it acceptable? Because I want to hear about, well, you're over the line there. You used a video camera. You're over the line. Okay, I can tell you that Veda Pinson, who's our first base coach, knew what the pitcher was going to throw. I won't tell you how, but he saw it with his eyes. When the pitcher went in his windup, he relayed it over to the third base coach, and my third base coach relayed it back to me while he's in his windup. Is that cheating? I mean,
or is that research? Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, it wasn't video, but it was, my coach was watching him. He could see what he's going to do. Sometimes they can look in and see the signs from the catcher. And if I'm on second base and, the catcher's got his fingers 1, 1, 1, or 5, or pick, or 5, 1, which would be a pick off. If he's showing me, he's not disguising them to me, and my hitter wants to know him, I'm going to tell him either what the pitch is, or I'm going to relay where the location is.
Sure.
They've been doing it forever, okay? Ever. So, I mean, cheating, utilizing what's given to you, is it over the line? We all can have different opinions about that. But see, I took it as the other team. When I heard somebody pounding on a garbage drum in there. It's partly my responsibility to hear that and get them. That's part of the game too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in the National Football League, they can't drive the quarterback into the ground, right?
No.
It's against
the
rules. Did they do it?
Yes.
You're damn right they do it. They do it early in the game, and they drive him into the ground. Even though they can't do it, well, I'll take my 15-yard penalty. When that quarterback goes back there, I'll guarantee you, if you got some guy that smokes you as a kicker.
Oh, it's happened.
Yeah. And then the next time he's on that outside, there's some peekaboo going on.
Oh, big time, man.
Now, is that cheating? That's outside the rules. So
I'll give you an example.
I mean, like at second base, when I came up in the league, you could roll block a guy at second.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys, they wouldn't stand in there. Now you couldn't. Then you couldn't roll block them. Now you can't even go in there at all.
Yeah.
I'd say I'd tell Cal Ripken, hey, you catch that ball, you step off that base. I don't care what the rules. I'm gonna come down there and I'm gonna get your ass. Okay. Now, is it worth it to set up the rest of the series and maybe get a guy who steps off the bag and doesn't complete a play? You're damn right it is. So, AJ Hinch, did he know about it? I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he go too far? Well, the league says that he did. He paid his penalty, but he's very bright. He's has great psychology, great relationship builder, and they had a great improvement this year. So AJ is a competitor. He wants to win. I don't know if I really answered the cheating question, but I think I did.
It's fine. You gave perspective to it.
I mean, everybody think about it. You're the guy. What's cheating? Sure. What's resourceful?
Yeah.
And if you get caught, you pay the piper just like anything else. And if you want to be accountable for that, that's your deal.
Gaby, you were a successful manager, which I really kind of admired because I can totally see you as a manager, and you were with the Diamondbacks and the Tigers. But growing up in as a player in the 70s and then playing, of course, in the major leagues for a long time, give me your perspective on the player today versus what it was when you played as a manager. Now, put your coaching hat on, the managing hat on, right? And say, how besides the money, of course, that's changed, obviously. How has that modern day player changed? And how is there anything you would change about the game of baseball today to make it more interesting? I'm sorry. It's either home run or strikeout. I mean, can we, is there changes needed? Give me a perspective on the modern day player, and then what would you do to change the game?
See, I think that baseball is like playing chess. Okay. You play chess?
Sometimes, sporadically, not very well.
It takes a long time. You got to think it out. Sometimes you can see the paint drying on the walls.
Yes.
I do this, you do that, I do this. It's just kind of, it's really, it's point, counterpoint. It's I move, you move. and I'm trying to lead you into a trap. You sniff it out. You know what I mean? It's really a thinking man's game. Is it slow at times? It can be. Like they put in how they can change the game is enforce what they change. Okay, beginning of this year we had all this talk about get 12 seconds or 15 seconds between pitches or whatever. Well, the hitter steps out for 35 seconds, number one, or the pitcher is walking around the mound. But all the times to enforce this right now, you got these playoff games. You know, there's a minute, 30 seconds in between pitches on some pitches.
Yeah.
And so they say, well, it's the playoffs. But see, getting back to my point earlier, I'm saying, yeah, it's the playoffs. You get your 15 seconds, and then after that, it's strike one. The pitcher doesn't throw it quick enough, it's ball one. And you just get the line moving. First of all, if you hold them to it, they'll change and they'll speed up. But they don't want to do it because everybody thinks baseball is such a slow game, but it really isn't. If you got 30 seconds or 15 seconds to think about something, or you got 30 seconds, is a big difference. It makes the game way slower. So I think it makes the game better to make them at the pace. You make the rules, that's fine. It's always, look at, they had the rules where you had to completely stop before you went home plate. Guys are going like this all the time. The umpires, I feel sorry for them. They have to enforce it to like the first month of the season, then they let it go. But I watch these guys a minute 30 between pitches. I'm like, get in the box. I get the feeling, okay? But mind you, if I was on the other team, I'd be saying, get in the box. I mean, we used to chirp out like that, you know, like get in there and take your abuse. They don't do that anymore. I think the whole culture of the game is different. You have people from different parts of the world that come in, and it's different. And they bring some of their wonderful things that they've learned in some of the cultures that they do. So you have some of that. I think they, quite frankly, amend hockey, football, baseball. I think they've amended those games to accommodate a certain type of athlete. Now, I watch the NFL, and I see guys, they don't even have knee pads in.
Oh, I know.
They have no pads in. Well, how can that be? I mean,
they get crushed.
Huh?
And they get a knee injury or a thigh injury
because they don't hit like that, okay? They're not going to hit you like that. That's the only way they can do it. It's like you kind of walk up and put the shoulder forward. I mean, pretty soon they may have flags. I don't know. One flag tag. But, you know, in baseball, you can't run over the catcher if he's blocking home plate. You can't get the guy at second base. I just think contact is part of it. You know, they box. You know the risks. You know, all the hits that I took or initiated probably were not good for me at this point in my life. But at that point, it was a choice. Is what we were taught. If you want to use it, use it. I enjoyed it. But, you know, overall, I think baseball does a pretty good job of regulating their stuff.
Yeah.
They could always be better like everybody else. You know, Sparky Andersen asked me one day out of the clear blue, where's Babe Ruth? I said, what do you mean, where's Babe Ruth? He's passed. He says, exactly, and the game went on. When you leave, the game goes on. When I leave, the game goes on. When the fans leave, we got no game. So, you know, you have to market and you have to do things for the fans. I believe what Sparky said is true. And I think they probably do a better job of that. We were kind of rough and gruff. They didn't have the media and the television coverage the way it did. They did back when we played. But, you know, it's a great play. Now, I guarantee you when people go to the baseball game, they watch the ball basically all the time. Mm-hmm. I'm saying, like when I do my games on TV, I always got a camera or two over here because you ever wonder why a guy was just out or why he's just safe? That's what I look for because we're getting back to that. Detail. You know, is your field goal going to matter or isn't it? You know, if we didn't pay attention to detail and they got an extra, you know, a 2-point conversion out of it or an extra, you know, made it a 3-score deal, you're screwed. So, you know, all these competitions, all these games, they all have choices that you can make to put yourself in a position to win.
I talk about, when I talk to the young guys that are trying to come up and kick, I talk about the moment of truth, and every sport has it. Baseball has the moment of truth. For a kicker, the moment of truth is when the plant foot hits the ground. You're either right or wrong. You're not going to be able to move that plant foot. That's the moment of truth. It's going to be revealed really quickly if you're in the right spot. I would imagine for a baseball player, it would be when you step in that box and the ball's coming and you start to initiate the swing. Would that be the moment, or for a pitcher, when he steps down on the mound and throws, he's either right or wrong?
Well, I'll tell you where I'd say the moment of truth is. The moment of truth is when I'm ready. You're talking about the ready position. When you're ready to kick the ball is when that foot goes down.
Correct.
When I'm ready to swing at that pitch.
Correct.
It's kind of the same thing. Where does my foot go down? Where are my hands?
Yeah.
Do I have them wrapped around my head? Are they too low? I don't care where you start. You can start here. You can start here. I mean, Julio Franco, he'd be like this, but he can put the bat on the ball. Everybody does different things. But, boom, foot goes down. You're ready. If you're ready too early, ready too late, it just throws everything off. So I'm trying to draw analogies what people can do, but there's certain basics that if you don't do it, you're going to make it really hard to put the bat.
I say non-negotiable. There's that non-negotiable aspects to our skill set that if we don't do those things, kickers are different. You got 10,000 guys that can do it. Yeah, I know we're different, but I'm talking physically now. You got 10,000 guys out there who can put on a strap on a helmet and kick the ball 80 yards. But when the lights come on at 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, you got maybe 15 guys at the highest level.
Yeah.
Well,
you tell me something. What was the biggest pressure kick you ever had?
So let me preface it by saying I don't like the word pressure, Gibby. And here's why. Pressure only happens when your skill set doesn't match the task.
I do. That's why you're so good. You wouldn't allow yourself to think that way.
Right.
But I mean, truth be
told, a big kick like the home run you had was the NFC Championship game. I mean, to go to the Super Bowl in overtime against the Vikings, a 38-yarder from the left hash in the Metrodome.
You've done that so many times, but the thing about it is in my mind, when those moments come up, you can feel that. I don't want to say doubt, but that holy shit moment wanting to creep into your personality. That's when you got to think. You got to corral that. You can't let that go.
That's right.
That's when you start
harness.
That's when you know that this one's true. You can see it going through the uprights. You can't see it. There are people that say, "Oh, I don't want to fail here." I mean, there's a lot of people that won't put themselves in those positions because they predetermined failure.
It's distasteful. It's distasteful, man. People are not built to deal with the world of suck. That's why professional ball players that can do it at the highest level, they're just built differently. Did you visualize, Gibby? Did you do visualization?
I did affirmations through visualization.
Yeah.
And when good things happen, I affirmed. We used to have a saying, anytime you affirm a good feeling from a good moment, I think it's powerful individually, for a team, for an organization, for a fan base. Hell yeah, when shit's going good, imprint that in your souls. Okay, this is who we are. Yeah, this is what we do. Yeah. If you don't do it, it's not like you, and you're well prepared for the next time. Yes. I definitely visualize and still do to this day when things are maybe wanting to, I have Parkinson's disease now, as you know, and it's a little different deal to work with. In their days, I mean, I could easily go over there in that corner, turn the lights out and sit and let it get me. But you got to be proactive, and part of the way that you be proactive, not only with yourself, is to help others. Because it feels so good to help others. And I know that you have your great tournament down there in Atlanta.
We just had it. Yeah, we just had it. We missed you guys. Yeah. We had a great time.
That makes you feel good. I mean, it's a lot of work by a lot of people, a lot of coordination. You don't have to do it, but you do it because you love that feel.
Yes.
And, those are the things that you learn. Like my home run that I hit are some of the good things that I've done. And I've been blessed with 4 healthy children and a wonderful wife. And I got a grandkid now. Like, man, how could you not feel like you got to give back? It's amazing that, I assume people are close within their families. But you know what? It's not the case. So, it's like, how can we help turn them on to make that happen? Because, in my life, family it's the money. That is the money right there. We had so much fun. And of course, my youngest is 27 and my oldest is 46. And they just bury me. They love getting at me. I tell them,
it's mutual.
I'm going to get back at you when I'm going to be sitting out in my deer blind at my ranch, and you're going to be wiping my rear end. So you better watch it. Just say now.
Well, Gibby, when I heard that you had Parkinson's, I just thought to myself, I can't think of a guy tougher, more tenacious, and more stubborn to take this thing on. And how I know it's changed your life a little bit, but really, it seems like you're blazing through it now. I'm not with you every day and every minute of it, so I'm sure your family would say something different maybe. But how's it? Number one, how's it going? How's it changed your life, Gibby? And it seems to me that it has almost refocused you to be even more, to bring that competitive fire to it.
Yeah, it's a big opponent. It's a big task.
Yeah.
First thing you got to realize, it's not a death sentence, and you can have happy, productive days. It does progress. I try and find ways to slow it down, and I go to a guy in Williamson, Michigan, where I activate my nervous system. It's a great workout. From your toes to your head, you activate your nerves. And, if you watch somebody walking down the road and maybe you got a stiff back or a stiff neck, or you get a little out of cockeyed or whatever, with this exercise, you put yourself in proper configuration, proper posture. Then you ignite these nerves, and it comes back together. You put a pad between your knees and your ankles, and you squeeze with that. Then you get out here and you get that chest out. You pull in there. It's an amazing feeling. Because if you don't do physical therapy, you don't do cognition therapy.
Sure.
It's gonna slow you way down. But if you take it, this is my opinion, okay? When you take medicine I try to replace movement
for medicine.
It's the other way. I try and replace medicine with movement.
Yeah.
Okay, because medicine has side effects.
Yes.
So when you're taking levodopa or dopamine, basically oral dopamine, one of the side effects is dyskinesia when you start shaking. I'm pretty good right now, but your hands, it goes. It's embarrassing. You'll see a lot of people with Parkinson's with their hands in their pockets. They try and stop the hand. But when you do the movements, you don't have to take as much medicine, and then you can put off some of those side effects, that come from the medicine. But look at, when it all happened, the Spartans came out of the woodwork, as you know, for my cause, my friends, my family, so many people and fans around the world. I've gotten hooked up with Cure Parkinson's Trust in London, Helen Matthews, and some of the things that they do differently in different countries to try and help people. But it makes me feel better that I try and help others than it does to just sit and be depressed. It's a very depressing disease if you allow it to, but it all starts here every day. It's right there. So you used it when you kicked. I used it when I played. I used it to fight Sparky.
Proactive.
You can accomplish it if you choose to.
That's right.
And nobody said anything can be easy, But
Right.
so what, right? So what?
We play golf together. I sit in the cart and you run from shot to shot. And that's the truth.
I can still
if
run.
anybody out there listening, Gibby runs from shot to shot for 18 holes. All right?
Not all the time.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah, well,
You talk about being proactive. That's
Yeah.
engaging and being proactive in the fight against that disease. Man.
Yeah, it's getting cold in Michigan now, so we're getting, the highs are in the 40s or whatever. Golf courses are barely open, but I'm going to head out there tomorrow. I just got done.
Come down here, buddy. Come to Georgia. I'll take care of you.
Yeah, I don't want it to be too nice, but then I'm going to go out in the woods for another 3 or 4 days. I want to get you up here for that gig.
All right. No problem.
We got all the games. We got the ping pong. We got the pool. We got
ping pong. We know who won that. I mean, if you think you can beat me at pool, well, let's give it a rip for sure.
Well, we're going to definitely. We're not think. I know. No, I mean, you know what I do? It's crazy. I was just in Pierre, South Dakota.
Yeah.
And we were doing some friendly wagering, and I was down considerable amounts. But I don't quit. We're playing till 5 in the morning if we have to, because I just will not quit. They go,
you're a grinder.
I'm like, one more. They go, okay, one more. I go 3 out of 5. So that's one more 3 out of 5.
Adjusting the game as we go. I got you.
Yeah, you got to keep the pressure on, man.
Oh,
you can't give it.
Hey, I'm not going to take too much more of your time, Gibby, but I do have a couple of names I want to throw at you. And when I say these names, whatever comes to your into your mind when I say the names, I want to get your opinion on these guys, because you talked in the beginning about loving each other and being a family and being around guys that you do something together, and it's hard to describe unless you've been in that environment. And you spent decades in that environment, and you've had so many guys and coaches in your life, and you've affected so many people. I want you to know that, including myself, by your indelible fighting spirit. I mean that sincerely. So you talked about Sparky Andersen just briefly, but just give me your thoughts on Sparky. It can be a word, a sentence, anything.
He was a master. Don't get worried here. I got a couple things.
I'm not worried.
Sparky he taught me how to play the game. He taught me how to be a professional. And it says, the players make the manager. It's never the other way, Sparky. I can't get this.
Don't take stuff.
This right here, he wrote me after I retired. What happened to those 17 years? I can remember a feisty young man coming to our home 17 years ago who turned out to have quite a career. I think being around you, I learned that all people who are willing to stand up, be counted, have a chance to be successful. I think you have shown a lot of young players that if they have a little gumption, they certainly can be better. I want to take the time to tell you that I thank you for all the hard years, for the respect you always showed me. Ultimate respect, that guy. He taught me the game. He was, awesome. In 1983, he told me that I was going to be a platoon designated hitter. And I went after him in his office. He ran out and said, "You'll find out who the manager is." And he told me, when the Hall of Famers are throwing, I'll let you play. When the cake eaters are throwing, you'll be on the bench next to me learning how to play. So it's just what you'd want, right?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, yes. And he said, I'm going to bring you to your knees this year, son. You either get it or you go home and sit on mama's lap next year.
Okay.
I hit 227 that year. The next year we won the World Series. But I got my shit together because he brought me to my knees. And we don't have time to talk about the things, but he made it hard on me. And I hit about 400 the last month to hit 227. So he's a very powerful influence.
That is great.
Great Hall of Famer.
Great story, Gibby. Alan Trammell.
Most deservedly is in the Baseball Hall of Fame. My best buddy. Spend more time with him in the game than anybody that I ever played with. Met for lunch every day. Met in the weight room every day. Stayed after and had beers every day. is the trustee of my trust to this day. I trust him so much. The one thing, Alan Trammell seems like the perfect guy, but he's a good shit starter, okay? Like, he's the guy, the guys were yelling from the bench. He's standing right behind me. He's going, they say, Kenny, you suck. And then all of a sudden, Kenny looks and Tram's there, and then I'm sitting there, they go, Gibby, you say one more word and you're out of here. He can start some crap. Yeah.
I love it.
He was,
that's a guy you want in the foxhole, man.
Oh, yeah. What a competitor. And, you know, he's kind of the guy that you'd look at, you never think could be a great ball player. Wow. We had Trammell and Whitaker for 20 years up the middle. It's never been done before. It'll never be done again. It's the greatest second base shortstop duo in the history of the game. That's incredible.
Wow.
And I played with that guy. Now, one other story about Trammell. I got him in the snowmobile, and as good as athlete as he is, we were in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. He fell off 10 times in the first day, okay? But we finally said, Tram, you know, we got him going. So for about the last 25 years, we go on these little trips. You know, we used to ride, say, 2,000 miles in a week. Wow. Now we ride maybe 900, okay? But you got to kind of keep Tram in the middle, okay? So you got a leader, you got Tram, and I'm usually behind him because you got to make sure he stays under control. Well, 2 years ago, we're cruising. It's snowing a little bit. And all of a sudden, there goes Tram. He's decided that he's a little frisky and he wants to lead for a while. We're cruising down the road at 65 miles an hour. The trail actually turns, and there's when the plow pushes it off, it makes the bank, you know, 4 or 5 feet high. Didn't see the curve. Straight he goes. Up in the air he goes. Somersaults. The sled goes this way. Alan Trammell flies 40 feet in the air, lands in 6 feet of snow. And I go up and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh. And I said, are you okay? Are you okay? He goes, oh man, my leg hurts. And so he's laying there. I say, you sure you're okay? You feel anything else? Your neck, you know? He goes, I'll be all right. So he gets on the sled and he rides another 4 hours. We're riding back to our truck. So the next day we drive home. It's about 7 hours from Detroit. And I said, we got to get you to the doctor and make sure there's no broken bones in there. He's got a broken leg. This guy not only did the somersault, he falls, he breaks his leg. He rides 4 hours home. He's got a broken leg. We go to spring training, and guess who gets all the crap? Me. Hey, Gibby, so you broke Tram's leg, huh? Yeah, real nice. We were out in the mountains, the Gravelly Mountains out west of Montana, and we have guides, and it's above the tree line, so you can't really tell where you're at. So the guides say, make sure you stay behind us. So we were going straight, and all of a sudden we take a little veer around, and because there was a big ravine there, it's probably about 50 feet down, and they had these frozen snow cornices off it. And so sure enough, we stopped on the other side of it, and we're like, where's Tram? We have these communicators on it. I go, Tram, where are you at? He goes, oh, I'm catching up to you right now. He stopped to go to the bathroom. I turn around, he's coming right at us, launches off into the ravine. I hear him go, oh, shit, 11 foot of powder. There he goes. He's in there. We're talking to him. He's got 9 lives, man. But the guy he's a riot. And he's up for anything. Great. Yeah.
I think we just ended there. I mean, there's so many guys. I'll do one more. This guy was always fun to watch. Fernando Valenzuela.
Freddie, yeah. You remember you used to always look up and he'd have his eyes up in the air like that. Through the screwball.
What was that?
It just was his whole thing. You know, he throws a screwball. Yeah. And nobody like can throw those. So if you could throw a screwball, you're going to be very successful, but your arm's not going to last. Your shoulder's not going to last. Fernando's lasted for a while. I remember we played in a 22 inning game in Houston one night. Fernando was our first baseman. He loved it. He could hit. He could suck some pops down too, and we have a good time. But him and Jesse Orozco were really good buddies. What a great competitor. He didn't give, and to this day, what a wonderful person. But he's got some humor in the way he is, and we could count on him every day.
Well, one guy I could count on and we could count on was you, Gibby. You know what I'm saying? We counted on each other, man. I look back, I got to tell you, I look back with so much joy on those 4 years at Michigan State. They were formative years for me. My freshman year playing with you guys in that iconic team, winning the Big Ten, beating Michigan. I mean, it set me up for success. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah,
it really did, because of the mentality of the collective beings on that football team. You were one of them.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
You were the one. You were the one.
Best time of their lives. Now, I'm going to give you a name, and you got to promise me you'll answer it. Phil Hickey.
Well, geez, the mentor. Mentors magnificus. Here's a guy who unselfishly has put himself in people's lives to help them, to assist them. A great Spartan, but who unselfishly gives of his knowledge and his passion, his love, his energy to help you elevate your life. Not just
at your age, still he's an unbelievable. He's one of those guys. You just don't know, how can people be so good?
We're just very blessed. We're very lucky to have Phil Hickey in our lives. That's all I can tell you, man.
Yeah.
And he will be there against Michigan this weekend, and I hope to see you. Are you going?
Actually, I'm going to be out of town, but
okay,
we'll have it.
I'll see Rick Lash. I'll see the guys.
We'll have it right here. We'll have it on there.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there, man, and I'll see Silly, and I think he's got a little tailgate going. So I'll see him.
I'll
see my son.
Yeah, good. I was just going to ask you, and a couple of my boys will be up there.
Yeah.
So we're all Sparties in this household. So you guys
will be at Lansing Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Big group of people.
Excellent.
So, love you. Hey, man, I appreciate you so much.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Keep up the good work. Enjoyed being at the Hall of Fame when you were inducted. You had a great speech, and we'll connect again soon. Okay, bud?
I appreciate you, Gibby. Love you.
Love to you and your family.